Hi, this is Craig Proctor, and welcome to the Craig Proctor Show, our podcast, which you can listen to at your favorite place. Today, I'm honored to have Phil Aitken. He's one of the top real estate agents in the Northeast, one of the top agents in Jacksonville, Florida. Phil, welcome to the Craig Proctor Show.
Thanks for having me, Craig. Appreciate it.
Hey, you just got back from Cancun. You're at one of our events. Tell us a little bit about that.
I had a fantastic first ever Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty conference, and had over 100 folks there that were from all over the U.S., some of the top agents all over the U.S. And we had a great time of sharing and masterminding, and it was just a fantastic event. A lot of good takeaways from the conference. It was phenomenal.
Okay, well, it must feel good to get out to a physical event again. Okay, we got some great stuff to talk about. If you haven't watched one of my podcasts before, today we're going to get right into the nitty gritty here. We don't talk about general things like motivation and you can do it and generalities. I'm interviewing the top real estate agents in the Craig Proctor system, the top real estate agents in North America, about what they do every day that makes them awesome. So let's step back a bit, Phil. When you first got into real estate in 2014, you said you were a solo agent for only about 30 days, and then you brought somebody onto your team. That's a lot of that's quick, right? Because a lot of realtors don't figure out this solo agent deal doesn't work very well in 30 days. It usually takes them a couple of years to figure that out. So talk to me about that epiphany that you had and how you started to grow your team and the massive success that you've had. Then we're going to get into some of the reasons that make you so awesome in Jacksonville, Florida. So back up the bus. How did you get into real estate? How did you get started? And talk to me about how you scaled up.
Well, originally I got my real estate license in 2005. I went directly into new construction sales and sold for a builder developer for 4 years. And then 2009 happened, and a lot of folks got kicked out of real estate, just like myself. Yeah. Went back into business to business sales. I had spent, prior to real estate, I had spent 25 years in office equipment sales, so business to business sales. And so moved to Jacksonville in 1999 and got my license in 2005. And during that time, I was selling office equipment as a general manager for a copier company. So it was not uncommon to go literally knock on doors 20 a day and meet thousands of people, throughout the year. So I knew a lot of folks. And so that's why we had a lot of early success. So got my license, after getting my license and then my hiatus from real estate, then in 2014, we came back to real estate, but knew I didn't want to be one-dimensional in a builder sales any longer. So we started a real estate team, and it was myself, and I knew within 30 days that I needed help. I needed leverage. So had a friend.
Do you think that was like your business background? You realized when you worked at the prior business that, business people, owners generally have people working for them. So I'm just saying, in 30 days to figure out you needed to grow your team is something that most realtors don't realize till usually years later.
Yeah, I knew that if I was not in front of people, because of my business to business background, if I was not in front of people, if I was not talking to prospects, then I was, it was a numbers game. And so I knew that from the copier business. So many calls equals so many appointments equals so many sales. And so I knew that it was a numbers game. I just had to figure out what the numbers were in real estate. And within 30 days, I realized, oh, wow, I'm spending a whole bunch of time doing $10 an hour work. I got to get help.
Okay, so you come into this with a real business background, and you create a business in short order. You've got you've got processes in place. You've got a lead generation system. You've got conversion systems. You're scaling your business with people. You've figured out how to hire the right people at the right time, doing the right things, and that's why you're on track for 500 home sales within the next 36 months. Which is pretty awesome. Right now, you're at 175 transactions, but the way you've designed your business, it's totally scalable. I mean, you can go from 175 to 300 to 500 fairly easy. Now, the market in Florida and everywhere else is just ridiculously super hot. I mean, I think you'd agree, Phil, in all the time that you've been in real estate and all the years, we've never seen a market like this. I mean, money is running down the streets. We've got more home sales than ever. We've got higher prices than ever. We've got the lowest interest rates, in history, and we've got multiple offers. I mean, if you're part of the Craig Proctor system, you know that listings are the game. They always have been. And over the last year and a half during the pandemic, if you had a lot of listings and the know-how how to get them, your life has been easier. Now, if you're working with buyers, life hasn't been as easy because by the time the buyer finds out about the house is already sold or there's multiple offers. That's where you're an expert. And I want to key in on this. Okay. Phil Aitken is an expert at getting his buyers' offers accepted. So our topic here is very relevant for anybody working with a buyer, or even when you're working with a seller. The sellers don't want to list their house until they find another place. So it doesn't matter. You can bring them an offer for 10% more than what their house is worth. They are not going to stick the for sale sign on the front lawn until we can find them another property and get that offer accepted. So let's switch gears into getting offers accepted. You're the expert. Tell us how you do it.
Am I able to share my screen?
I think you may.
Okay, so I'll do that in just a second. So just a little bit of background. We had a record December 2020. When COVID hits, we kind of panic and say, what's this new world going to look like, right? And we everything paused for about 30 days in Florida, and then buyers and sellers were like, the heck with this COVID thing. We're going to go ahead and buy, sell houses. So inventory kept creeping down, and we had a record December like we've never had before, a record January in closings like we never had before. But come January, mid-January, everything just stopped as far as new inventory coming on the market. And so we thought we dodged the COVID bullet, and then hence, it was a lagging indicator that there was a shortage of inventory. We went from 10,000 houses down to 2,000 houses, down 80%. And it felt like it just happened all in the month of January. So we went from, winning 80% of the 90% of our multiple offers down to like 15%. I think we were like 5 for 30. It was terrible.
So that's a huge problem. I mean, you've exactly what I said. You've got buyers that want to buy. There's a massive shortage of inventory. You're one of many offers. How many offers did you see? Like, were you seeing 10 offers, 20 offers? What was kind of normal at that point?
Yeah, we've seen everything from 2 to 40, depending on the property. The pretty houses get more offers, but it's just been absolutely nuts. And so, as on the buy side, it created a real pinch in our business from a cash flow standpoint because we weren't winning all, right. 80 to 90% like we were in the past. Right.
So you're frustrated. The buyers are frustrated. So you set out to figure out how can we win in multiple offer situations.
Exactly. So we dug into the Craig Proctor library and found the best of the best. John Reeves and Bill Watson both had done this topic before in years past. And so we took that information and then we customized it to what we were doing and how do we be current and relevant and how do we win. And so we literally spent 3-4 weeks on this process with all of my agents, just perfecting the process, what's working. And boom, we started to get back up into the 70 to 80% win ratio.
So before you explain the process, what does it look like today? If you're in multiple offer situations, you're up against, 8, 9, 10 other offers. What percentage would you win now with this special process that you've created now to get your offer accepted?
Yeah, we're probably north of 70, 75%. Sometimes you've got folks that need a loan. It's hard to compete with cash offers.
Right. Okay. So literally you've gone from 15% offer accepted rate to about 70, 75%. That's a big win.
Yeah. Big difference.
Okay. So explain to the audience, tell us, how do we do this? Because every realtor is experiencing this market right now. It's like, how do I get my offer accepted? Sometimes you may feel you've got like the best offer and you still lose. So show us how you did it.
Right. The very first thing that we do, is do the discovery. So we have to understand what the interest, needs, goals, and desires of the customer are. So as we do a buyer's consultation, it's got to start there. To win that multiple offer, you've got to set it up right. The buyers have to get their mind right, because first-time buyers, for example, their parents are experts at buying the houses because they bought 3 houses in their lifetime. But the last house that they bought was 12 years ago, and it was a buyer's market when they bought. And so they say, hey, little Joe, honey, baby, you need to go list price down, and you need to offer 15% less. So their parents are experts, they think, but that's not today's market. So we've got to coach our buyers, and especially first-time buyers, on what it takes to win in this market. And so once we understand what their interest, needs, goals, and desires are, that's step one. Step two is you have to show them the data. I'm on the DISC scale, I'm a high C, and I have to know what the data is you have to prove it to me, right? And so the very first thing that we do is we go to our Northeast Florida market stats.
Okay, before we get into data, I want to make sure everybody gets this point of actually counseling the buyers, because Phil, you're totally right. Experienced buyers have been programmed over the years through all their home purchases that you always negotiate the price down, right? And if they're a first-time buyer, guess who they're getting their advice from? Their parents, their Uncle Joe, whoever. So counseling the buyer and learning exactly what they're thinking and what their goals are, and really setting their expectations before you even take the next step is so vitally important.
Yeah, and what I tell my agents is we got to get the buyer's mind right. They have to know what they're getting themselves into, and they're hiring us because we're the experts. And if they want to win, they need to listen and do what we say to do. And
now, do you ever make a decision right there to not work with a buyer if you after you're counseling them on what it's going to take and their mindset, trying to get their head on right? Do you ever stop with a buyer where you just know they're not going to take the right steps, to take the right actions to be successful?
Yeah, if you're working with a buyer that let's say is a VA buyer, and they say, hey, I've got to get my 4% closing costs from the seller, and we want to buy a house in 200,000 price range. There are times that we counsel them, say, hey, this may not be the right time for you if in fact you need the seller to give you $10,000 in closing costs. That's not the market that we're in. But
right, so let's say if I'm the buyer, Phil, like what would you give me an example of like how you would counsel me? So I'm a realistic buyer. I'm not I'm not somebody you would exclude. What kind of things would you say to me?
Well, I think the first thing is we have to share with them what the data is, and share with them that things are going for 5 to 20% over asking price. And if they give some pushback, or if they give they're uncomfortable with that, we just show them what the data has been on our last 25 listings that we've done, because we can show them average number of offers, right. 5 to 20% over asking price. We can show them all of the things that are happening when we have the listing. That's happening across the board. So if this doesn't work for them, this may not be the right time to buy. So essentially what we're doing is sharing with them what they have to do to win. But if that doesn't work for you right now, I completely understand this may not be the right time to buy. So you make an offer to them, and then you take it away from them if in fact they're uncomfortable with that. But you have to get their buy-in. Otherwise it's a waste of 6 months of your time showing them 300 properties and not winning any.
Okay, really important point. Okay, so this is a data-driven decision. Without the data, it would be very difficult to get the buyers to understand what it's going to take to be successful.
That's right. People have to see. They have to see it with their own eyes, because we're salespeople, right? They perceive us as salespeople because we're trying to make the sale.
Right.
No, we want to show them the data to prove to them that this is what it's going to take to win. Are you prepared to do that?
Okay, so show me some data that would convince me. I'm a buyer. I want to buy in Jacksonville. I bought 3 houses before. I think I'm an expert, Phil. And every house I bought, I've always negotiated 4 or 5% off the asking price. So,
right.
that's where my head's at.
Yeah. So the very first thing that we show them is the inventory. So a year ago, there was 9,147 houses on the market. Today, or this is the month of May. So this shows May of 2020, May of 2021. So we went from 9,000 to 3,800, but that is old data because things are changing so fast. That's old data. So the next thing we do is we pull up an MLS search that shows them that today, real time, it's 2,691. So a year ago was 10,000, and now we're at 75% less.
That's crazy.
So you have 75% less houses to choose from. So what that means is your supply is low, demand is high, and you're going to be fighting over houses. So that's the very first thing that we show them. The second thing that we show them is, let me see if I can make this any bigger here. We show them what the real world is. Bear with me one second. We show them what real world is. So these are the last, call it 25, 30 listings that we've had. So you've got on the top here, you have the seller, the list price, the sold price, the percentage of list price to sale price ratio, days on market, number of offers on that particular property. Was there a financing contingency, inspection contingency, and appraisal contingency? Because it's not just about the price. It's also about, can you remove the contingencies to make the offer more attractive to a prospective seller? So here's one that was listed at $1 million, and they got $155,000 over asking price. It was a 15% over asking price. Days on the market was 4 because we don't accept any offers until day 4 because of our process,
right,
on the listing side. And then we had 3 offers, $3 million offers. Crazy. And the one that won said no financing, no contingencies whatsoever. So this is a 15%. This one went for 2% over days on the market and so on. But if you look down at the bottom here, we're averaging a total of 8 days on market. The average in our Northeast Florida is 41 days. So 8 days on market, and we're averaging 7.1 offers per house that we list. So in a competitive world, you're going to be competing with 6 other people who want the same house.
This is really good. This is really good. How many realtors do you think counsel their buyers and show these kinds of statistics? You know what the other agents say? They say, yeah, the market's really hot. You should just believe me. You should just go in $115,000 over asking price. And the show me part is so important. So I love these stats. I love knowing the days in the market, the number of offers, the fact that there's no contingencies. If you want to win, your offer's got to be strong. Yeah,
that's exactly right. So you have to prove to people what it is. And there's an old saying that for an analytical, you can either give them 6 months to make a decision, or you give them 6 inches of information. And so if you give them 6 inches of information, they're going to say, all right, we're with you. We trust you. Let's go. And they'll do what you tell them to do, because you've proven to them. It's not just me saying, hey, it's really competitive out there. You're going to have to do what I tell you to do. No.
Now, one of the things I like to talk to buyers about is, how will you feel if you're victorious, right? Your offer is chosen, you get the house. And how will you feel if your offer is not chosen? Just place yourself at that in that mental state right now that you lose this house. Like, how much do you love this place? How are you going to feel if you lose it? If they're kind of indifferent, well, if we lose it, they're probably not going to win, right? The facts, though, that you provide the buyers, I guarantee is something that most other agents are not doing to this level. And then you can help them make the right decision.
Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is the average agent sells 5 houses in a year in the state of Florida.
So they don't really even know what the hell's going on with the market, right? If you're selling 5 a year, you're in every day selling so it's selling houses. So you're able to tell them, hey, this is what I did yesterday. This is what we did in the last week.
Right.
Not hey, this is what happened 3 months ago when I sold a house.
Yeah, this is real-time data. The average agent sells a house every other month. So, and only 27% of the 10,000 agents in Northeast Florida sold a house in the last year. So they don't know, they don't have the data to pull from to prove these stats of that it's going to take, there's going to be 7 offers, and we're going to be making offers 5 to 20% over asking price.
Does this help you get the buyer in the first place?
Oh yeah. I mean,
are buyers interviewing agents like sellers are interviewing agents? Because I would think now, I'm not suggesting the listing agent doesn't matter because it does, obviously, but a lot of sellers might think, well, you know what, it doesn't really matter who we list our house with, it's going to sell. We know that that's not true, but I'm just saying a lot of sellers think that way. But with buyers, it's really important that the buyer gets an awesome, experienced realtor that can help them win in multiple offer situations, since that's what's going to happen every single time. Like, with a few exceptions, if you're a buyer, you're going to be in multiple offer situations. And if you're not working with a skilled agent that can counsel you, give you the stats, help set your expectations, well, you're not going to do the right thing as a buyer, and that means you're not going to win. And so how's the buyer going to feel if they lose the property? I can tell you, Phil, in 25 years of selling real estate, it was always tough when the buyer lost in multiple offer situations, because it's like, that was the house they wanted. Yeah. That's the one that's in their head. And now everything you show them after that property, the one that got away, they're comparing every property to the one they didn't get. And it's very difficult. So always better for the buyer and for the realtor if we can get this wrapped up and get their offer accepted on the house they really love. Yeah. All right. What else do you show them?
Let's see. So that's the data. We show them what the market stats are and what the real time is today. And then we show them what it's going to take to win. There's going to be 7 offers, and it averages 105% of asking price. Right. And then we transition to, to what the offer package looks like.
Okay. This is really where your skill comes in as an experienced realtor, is what happens now. So you've showed them the stats, they're mentally prepared. They know if they're a realistic buyer, they can't refute the stats. They're like, okay, we get it. We know we're going to have to come in with a strong offer. We know it's going to be over asking price. The question is how much, but there's other things that you do other than just counseling the buyer and having them mentally prepared to go in over asking price. Show us the whole package here.
So the objective here is that whatever the package is, that you put it in one PDF. So the listing agent can't tear it apart and only deliver what he or she wants to deliver to the seller, right? So let me go back to this for a second. So when we have 16 offers, and as the listing agent, when we have 16 offers and 14 offers and 21 offers, and all these, all of those offers, it takes a lot of work on the listing agent's part to be able to do that. So if you send over, as a buyer's agent, if you send over a purchase agreement and a seller's disclosure and a homeowners association document and CDD documents, and you send over an approval letter, and you send over 5 or 6 different documents, multiply that times 16 offers. It is a logistical nightmare for the listing agent to have to deliver all of this information to the sellers. And they're probably not delivering all of the offers, the complete packages. So what we do, the very first thing that's absolutely critical, is you make one PDF so that the listing agent doesn't have to worry about the 5 different documents and send them to the seller. They're all in one. So that's the very first thing.
So you're really looking at this from the listing agent's perspective. Like, how can we make this easier and streamlined so our offer is just like easier to accept?
Yeah, because you have to sell the listing agent on why you're going to get across the finish line, why the Aitken home team at Your Home Sold Guarantee is going to get your customer across the finish line, and that you're selling your team as well as you're selling the buyer to the seller.
I love that. So the first sale that you need to make is really to the listing agent.
Absolutely.
So this is about a sales presentation, not just for the buyer, but for the listing agent to draw attention, or put your offer at the top of the pile.
Right. And the very first thing that we do is we're going to call the listing agent before we even put together the offer. We're going to call the listing agent from the listing, from that seller's home. Hey, do we have any other offers on this property? What's most important to the seller? If we were to prepare an offer, what's most important to the seller? And we find out some basic information, and I put them on speakerphone so that I can have the buyer hear that, hey, we already have 3 offers in this house.
Okay, I love that, by the way. Did everyone get that? I first heard that, Phil. I first heard that from Todd Walters. That's the first time I heard that. I don't know if he got it from somebody else, but while you're at the house, if the buyers are really interested, call the listing agent on hands-free. And what's that conversation go like? Because it's very important that your buyers hear what the listing agent has to say, and the other way around.
Yeah. So that conversation is, hey, I'm here with my buyers, and we're in the house, and they love the house. And do you have any other offers on the property? Yes, no, maybe, whatever it is. And then if we were to get you an offer, how soon could you present it? And what's the most important factors to the seller? And everybody's always, well, it's always price. Okay, but what's their desired move out time? Would they prefer a faster closing, slower closing? What's the most important things in the transaction besides money? What's the most important thing to the sellers? And so you go through that, and we try to get the listing agent talking. Sometimes they'll have loose lips, and they'll talk about, hey, yeah, if we can get a offer, close to list price, or if we can get it as is. So the buyer's hearing what the listing agent is saying. A lot of times loose lips sink ships, and that's to the buyer's advantage.
So you can tell pretty much on that phone call whether you're dealing with an experienced listing agent or a rather an inexperienced listing agent.
Yeah, no question about it.
Right. So so what kind of things sometimes do the buyers hear that are revealing to the buyers?
Well, if a listing agent says, yeah, we already have 3 offers, and we might ask, well, how many are cash and how many are mortgages? And then that is me planting a seed that I'm going to have a conversation with my buyer after we hang up the phone. Hey, there's a cash offer on this thing, so we're going to have to come in really strong. We're going to have to beat this.
Right. And so important that they hear that directly from the listing agent, rather, you just talking to the listing agent separately and then passing that on. So they're hearing directly from the source, hey, there's already 3 offers. A couple of them are cash offers. Now they're set up to, hey, like, how bad do you want this place? And how are you going to feel if you don't get it? Like, think about both. Think about the feeling of victory, and you're moving in with your family, or, yeah, man, you lost out, and now you got to go try to find another home that's better than this in this marketplace where we're basically starved for inventory.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Will you be kicking yourself if will you be kicking yourself and say, we should have gone 5,000 or higher?
Yeah, Phil, I don't know about you, but there's been so many times in my life where I would have to say human nature is like, we regret what we didn't do in life, right? Yeah. More than what we regret what we did. Like, for me personally, I've made lots of mistakes, like all of us have. And of course you regret things that you did incorrectly, but I would say my biggest regrets, and for most people, is what they didn't do. The house they didn't buy because they were a little shy on the price by $5,000 or $10,000.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. What happens next?
So once we have that conversation with the listing agent, then we're off to prepare the offer. So the very first thing that we do is we put together an offer summary. It shows them all 14 different documents that are part of this package. So we've got an offer to again the listing agent, and we have to sell our team, and we have to sell the customer to the seller, the buyer to the seller. So we have a very brief summary, and then this is absolutely critical. So we want to have pictures as well as the story. So we've had buyers that have seen certain books in a house, and they're reading that book, and so there's a connection there. Or had another customer that was his father and his grandfather, the buyers were his parents and grandparents were in the police department, and this particular seller was in the police department. So they put that in the letter. Hey, I come from 3 generations of police officers. Really respect that. Thank you for your service. So we try to find things in the house where there's an emotional connection, where we can make the buyer and the seller connect and put it in the letter.
Right. Now, so if they have young kids, the seller has young kids and the buyers have young, or even if the seller's got older kids and the kids are moving out to college and this family's coming in with young children, they kind of resonate. Now, we're not supposed to do these love letters. How do you position this?
I don't position it any other way than we're going to do it.
Right. Now, I was talking to Kristen Stampini in Boca Raton, Florida, and she said, well, look, if in the Craig Proctor system, we're always looking for workarounds, right? So, they're like associations like, well, you're not supposed to send a love letter. Well, like a lot of realtors just do it anyway. But the other thing you can do is nothing stops the buyer from sending it. Yeah. Right. If you're a realtor watching, so, well, that's frowned upon. We're not supposed to send a love letter, attached to our offer, purchase, and sale to the listing agent. We're not supposed to do whatever. Nothing stops your buyer from sending the letter. And that even could be a leave behind. Like this letter could be left on the kitchen table while you're at the showing. So
absolutely. And there's nothing stopping the buyer from going to knock on the seller's door and
exactly.
handing them the love letter as well.
So I always coach our realtors, and you've heard me say this before, Phil, is so many times the immediate reaction response, the knee-jerk response is why, as realtors, we can't do something. Oh, we're not allowed to do this. We're not allowed to do this. Always look, instead of focusing on why you can't do something, always focus on how to make it happen. Okay, how can you make this work? But you're doing it and it's working. But just giving everyone that's watching this like, oh, I'm not allowed to do that. Have your buyer send the letter. Have the buyer knock on the door. You could have you could have like a little QR. Do you have a QR code on this with a video? Right there. Okay, how cool is this? All right, so tell us about the QR code and the video that the seller can watch.
Yeah, so if anybody's watching this, they can just take their phone and pull their phone out and scan this QR code right now, and they can watch the video for themselves. So this particular buyer just said,
okay, hang on a second. Do that, everyone. Okay. And by the way, if you think this is an awesome podcast, let us know in the comments, whatever platform you're watching on this, and because this will be everywhere. You watch all these other real estate gurus. Do you get content like this where we're actually showing you what we're doing? Go ahead, hold your phone up to the QR code. You can actually watch an example of what this video would look like. So imagine you're the seller. You've got 12 offers on your property. And Phil has put this amazing package together for his buyer that's going to stand out to both the listing agent and the seller. This is going to stand out. So Phil's offer is going to have the best chance of getting accepted. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, there's the right brain, left brain. We have to connect with the audience, if it's a listing agent audience, or if it's the seller audience. We have to connect with them at an emotional level and a intellectual level. So the math has to make sense and the offer has to make sense to meet the seller's needs, right? So it's all about discovery, understanding what the seller's needs are and meeting those needs, right? If they need a longer close, shorter close, they need the house sold as is, whatever it is. Let's do the discovery with the listing agent and figure out what the needs are, and then connect with them emotionally. So connecting with the love letter and also the video. The video humanizes better than photographs can. So we're connecting with them at both levels.
I love the QR code. I love the video idea. Hey, have you ever done such a great job with your package for the buyer and presenting their offer? Have you ever had a situation where this works so well that the seller actually took your offer, even though maybe one of the other competing offers was at a higher price.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. It's not uncommon for, hey, you all, in the letter it says, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, you guys raised your family here and we wanting to raise our family here, and they're connecting at an emotional level, and hey, we're going to accept that offer for $5,000 less. We've also had cash offer competed. Our buyers had a mortgage that they had. They were coming with an offer with a mortgage, and we beat out sellers who had cash offers. We've won with VA. And all the challenges that inspections and appraisal issues and that kind of stuff. We've won with VA and beaten cash offers because our buyers connect at an emotional level.
I love this. Okay, so there's your proof right there, folks. There's your proof. I mean, the logical mind, right, doesn't understand that, right? The logical mind would say, well, I'm just going to choose the offer that has the highest price. So Phil, your point. Yeah, it's a heart, man. So if you've got a decent offer and you emotionally connect with both the listing agent and especially the seller, you've got a way better chance of winning, even if you're at a lower price, even if maybe your terms aren't quite as strong. Why? Because people make decisions emotionally and then they back them up with logic after the fact.
That's right. That's
hey,
exactly how it works.
This has been a great interview here, Phil. But we are running out of time. Is there anything else you want to share here before we wrap it up?
Let's see. We have an executive summary. This page tells them a little bit about us as a team, that we close, over the last 5 years, we've closed 600 houses and we closed 98%. The average agent closes 66% of the houses that go under contract. So we talked to them about our VIP buyer satisfaction guarantee.
How's this work?
It works very well because we're offering something that nobody else is offering. If the buyer's not satisfied with the house, we're going to help them. We'll list it and sell it for free within the first 12 months.
Hey, I think that's really important because buyers right now in Jacksonville, Florida, everywhere else, they've got to make like some pretty quick knee-jerk decisions. So there's a chance that the buyer, could buy the wrong house, or, hey, you don't even know who your neighbors are until you move in, or whether you really love the house. So I can purchase a home using your services. And if I'm not thrilled with that house within 12 months, then you'll sell it for free, as long as I buy the next house through you.
That's right. So it's a love it or leave it guarantee. So that takes the risk away from the seller. The buyer's not going to come back to the seller if there's something wrong. They're going to come back to me, and we're going to list it and sell it for free.
Okay, there's so much great stuff. We literally could just go on for hours here. You've got such an amazing package. But I'll tell you what, if you'd like to get some of what we're seeing here, I'll talk to Phil when we're done, and maybe we can make some of this available. But here's what you need to do. If you like this stuff, you should book a call with my team. It's proctorcall.com. So my name, proctorcall.com. And we call it a breakthrough call. And we can get you some information on this and what we do and how we help you go from where you are to where you want to go, which is exactly what we've done with you, Phil. You came in with, hey, here's where I am. And you say, Craig, here's where I'd like to go. And for most of us, we have like some kind of obstacle, right, that gets in the way between what we're doing right now and where it is we want to go. And we help you with that. I mean, imagine what your life could be like if we could remove that obstacle that's holding you back from really doing what you want to do. There's so many things I had written down here for us to talk about too. So getting your offers accepted was just one. You do a great job with your sphere of influence and your process for contract to close. So what I recommend, Phil, is we'll get you back on here again, and we'll tackle each one of these and give you an opportunity to come back and talk about all of these things, these processes, these amazing processes that you have in place that realtors would love to learn and hear exactly what you're doing. You're on the way to 500 transactions a year. One of the top real estate agents in Jacksonville, Florida. If I'm a realtor and I'm in Jacksonville and I'm watching this right now, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just go over and join Phil's team. Maybe I should talk to Phil Aitken about, maybe it's easier just kind of work with Phil here than work against him. How can I reach you, Phil?
Yeah, it's phil@aikenhometeam.com. If you just Google, your home sold guaranteed realty, you'll find us. We're on San Jose Boulevard near Bay Meadows. And we'd love to talk to some high-performing agents that want to take it to the next level.
High-performing agents who want to take it to the next level. I know you're watching this. This is who we attract in the Craig Proctor system. So I want to thank Phil Aitken and his team for doing an awesome job, being very important Craig Proctor members, licensed to Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty in Jacksonville, Florida. Phil, thanks so much for doing this. We'll get you back here again to talk about some of the other awesome things that you're doing. But until next time, thank you again for doing this. And thank you everyone for watching the Craig Proctor Show.
Thanks for having me.